Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Wednesday, July 17th, 2019. And today is nickel plate processing. Oh boy. We'll be making nickel plates in this Pyanodon playthrough today and making a couple of nickel alloys in the process. So that'll be good as well. We need to make nichrome. Yes, eternal stainless steel. Maybe we'll see stainless steel tomorrow. Maybe. Uh, First will come TPA, which means liquid nitrogen, which means gasoline. But to get to gasoline the way that I want to get to gasoline will mean that I need a light oil refinery / refineries, which means I need to set up nickel, because those require nichrome, I believe. I'll show you why light oil refineries. It's because I'm going to be using the distillates. So to get to gasoline, I'm going to be doing this recipe using the tin chromium alloy and the stripped distillates, which requires light oil refineries, as does the actual stripped distillates. And this also means I'm going to need to make titanium tetrachloride during this whole process. So, and these will require nichrome. Thus, nickel today. So last time I finished up the molybdenum. So last time was setting up this, although right now it's a little bit choked on too much tailings. Too many tailings that I'm not venting. Ha! You noted my molybdenum complaint. Ah, you mean the fact that the ore isn't randomized yet. Ahem. Cough cough. Pyanodon. The one ore that I have found that has not been updated. So I should have all these machines that I need to do this whole process. You need to be repaired. There we go. So let me bring up my notes. Reposition the microphone a little bit. Also, my hair is dry today at the start of the stream. Normally my hair has been wet. Today it's dry. I actually got a hairdryer. Thank you, Prime Day, for allowing me to pay like $17 for a $30 hairdryer. That was fantastic. So, nickel. 9 jaw crushers. Where are my jaw crushers? Jaw crushers. There you are. Where do I want to do this is the other question. So, I have sand castings and borax there that I can bring over if I want to do this locally. I guess I can do this locally. The only issue being rocks. I think I'll do this away from the rocks. Away from rocks. At least away from so many rocks in that volcanic zone might be a good idea. So I'll set this up right here. This will be the start of the line. I could pipe the molten near the sand castings, or I could bring the But I'm going to need borax for the molten. So I'm bringing that belt out here anyway, which has both the borax and the sand castings, so there's no real need to pipe the molten anywhere else. I can just make the plates locally, although that would save a line of belt for the plates to the bus. It would just... It's like, well, either way, I'm going to have to either do pipe or belt of one thing or another. Alright, so this is making... Let's see, which tab? Nickel. Grade 1. Now, I'm assuming that the assumptions that I made on the numbers are accurate with this. That in this process that I'm doing, the initial molten nickel process, that it ends up being a yellow belt of ore in for a half of a yellow belt of plates out. Oh, really? How about fixing that problem people are making, or having with, petroleum handling? With, the recipes from the update you posted Monday for that. Something, problem with, migration killing a bunch of recipes? Ha ha ha. Yeah. Fortunately, that one bit of code that I found from King Arthur works wonderfully. That resets the recipes. I've already run this code. I can do it again every time just in case, but yeah, that makes sure that all the missing recipes have been returned. But yeah, it sort of got rid of stone furnaces among a whole bunch of rather important recipes when doing that update. And that code was straight from King Arthur from one of the other posts that someone was having an issue with logistics chests after he had done some updates on that one. Next is probably the automated screeners, actually. Because this will always give grade 1, and I need a place to process the grade 1 into 3. Then I have to process the 2 and the rejects, so the 2 gets processed in the impact crushers into grade 1 with some sand. The rejects are in the secondary crusher. I'm assuming that just the one secondary crusher will be able to handle all of these nickel rejects, considering it's 3 for a 50% chance of getting a 1 out, and this can process 4.5 rejects per second. This is going to end up giving me 2-ish, if a full 4 comes in, which I'm assuming that this will loop to the point where it will give 4 per second. That's my assumption here, is that the way that this series works is that it will take the 3 per second in and add 1 to it after processing the G2s and the rejects. Just because that is how the math works out, such that it gives half of 1 belt per second on the output. So I can only imagine that there is some sort of logic there, that a half of a belt of ore in gives or a full belt of ore in gives a half of a belt of plates out via the molten casting. Because, you know, that would make sense. Regardless of the process it takes to get there, and the circular nature of this. So next is the ball mills. I don't know about this spacing though, probably gonna have to move some of this. The ball mills will make some beautiful, beautiful grade 4 nickel. Is that 3 per second? This is only going to give 1 per second of the grade 3. Why did I say that I needed 4? Maybe I just am looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing. It's 2 ball mills. I was looking at the molybdenum chain ball mill. That one's 4. This one's only 2. Because I need to process 1 per second, so I need 2 here. Then it's the basic oxygen furnace times 3. I will need oxygen in. And fuel. Fuel. That's a good question. I have a coal way out there. I have a coal right here. Right here. And a raw coal down there, but don't think I'll tap that one. I think I'll tap this 6.1 mil. That's close. Just to save on some belt. And I've got a few electric mining drills on me. So that will be the fuel for this. Need to pipe in oxygen, and that's about all we need there. And then 2 casting machines to make the actual nickel plates. These will make 7.5, not 12.5. Because I will end up with 1 per second, 1 per second. And yeah, anyway. That should be how that all goes. And then, of course, I need to deal with the stone, gravel, and sand. So 3 separate things to have to deal with, and this will always give gravel, yes it will, and this will always give sand, and this will always give, no, this gives 50% chance of stone. Which is, again, also going to need some fuel to void. I'm not going to have 3 separate voiding stations. I'm just going to line up a bunch of burners, as per usual. Okay, that will be that. So then I will need some sort of split off for stone here, some sort of split off for gravel here, some sort of split off for sand here. All of this will go and be voided. That can go all the way up this line. Do I have to worry so much? No, I don't have to worry at all about lane balance. I do have an odd number here, so I will go all the way up. I think this is actually going to be a lot faster of a process to set up now that I've done very similar setups several times. So I'll need to really figure out what we're going to do the rest of the day, because this will not take too particularly long, ideally. Now you are going to have 2, 4, 6, 7 per second. That is still less than a single lane. And I think a single blue at stack size 2 can handle those outputs now. Iron fun time is over, so I'm guessing that you just nerfed the amount of iron from that whole unslimed iron process. Well, ideally, let's see, I've got a 10 mil plus a 7.1 mil. I've got you detected a major imbalance there. Well, yeah, people, I think, have been discussing just how imbalanced the stage here is going into unslimed iron for a while. It's so bad it wasn't worth doing any other further process, pretty much. Yeah, so basically you made it how it should be after further levels of processing, but this will also mean that I need to redo my math on the whole stainless steel production. Will likely mean I have to make less stainless steel. Just because right now, two yellow belts of my iron ore in is giving me enough molten iron to fuel 2 yellow belts of plates plus 2 of casting of steel, and then beyond that, 2 casting machines of stainless steel. So that was probably a little bit on the ridiculous side, because you've got 4 casting machines capable of being run for the iron plates, 2 of the steel plates, and then 2 more of the stainless steel off of ultimately 2 yellow belts of iron ore. At Green Science. But then again, iron is the #1 most needed item in terms of making machines and such. So it makes sense that you should be able to make more iron than other things. But that one was just a little bit ridiculous for this stage of the game. Oh, and then I think I've read that people were noting that if later phases were buffed, that it would cause issues with being able to do infinite loops on iron without an ore input. Like, once it starts, it's a positive feedback loop. But I hope that your more rewarding on the later phases happens to have taken into account that process. I think the issue was at one point you can loop back in on Iron Pulp 2. I think that's what I was reading about. But regardless, even if I do need to get more iron to feed the amount that I'm currently able to produce, I'm not lacking. I am not lacking. In fact, I've got a 20 mil iron patch. Very, 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 very far away, but still, that, well, and I've got a 16 right. Wow, 2 spots where iron is right next to coal. That is highly convenient. Speaking of that ground borer, so these things give you a lot per second. Like, they give you a lot per second. It eats the drill heads, but I'm wondering, is this a net positive still? It needs a lot of lubricant, but I'm thinking about, there is a potential here that you could use ground borers and have a net positive on the production of the drill heads, most definitely. If you're ground boring for the chromium and the iron. My drill heads are all the way down here. So this is iron and steel plates plus chromium. If you're ground boring the iron and the chromium, well, am pretty sure that that alone is a net positive. So you can make drill heads from drill heads, less drill heads. So there's a positive feedback loop right then and there. Granted, you have to process the ores and all of that, but that alone is a bit of a positive feedback loop. And then ground borers, let's see, isn't there, outside of the coal gas and lubricant, those would be the two processes that you might not be able to do anything about. Coal gas. So what are the ways to get into coal gas? From heavy oil, from tar. Isn't there a tar from stone? No, there's a tar from coal. Well, yes, there is a tar from stone. The sand extractors give an absolute ton of stone. And is there not... So there's a tar to coal gas. So here's... Through the sand extractor, you've got infinite stone anywhere. Just add water here, and you've now got 250 tar per second on a 50 input, a 25 per second input of stone. Plus you're getting tailings, coarse fraction, and tailings dust out of this. And then the tar can give you the coal gas. So you've got now infinite tar, just add power. And then with infinite tar comes infinite coal gas, as well as eventually even infinite crude oil through Nextlit, which you're also getting through the ground boring. Is there a... I don't think there's not a direct way to get into the lubricant from tar, but... But of course there is lubricant from heavy oil. There is one from low distillates. And there's one from aromatics. There it is. There it is. Infinite tar to infinite creosote to infinite aromatics to infinite lubricant. So, infinite stone from the sand extractors into infinite tar into creosote into aromatics into lubricant, and tar can also go directly into coal gas. So you have everything that you need to run ground borers infinitely anywhere. Just add power and water and deal with the what was it, coarse fraction tailings dusts from the production of the tar out of stone. And it's not even that many sand extractors either from here to get into stone from sand extractors. Just add minuscule amounts of iron, which again, ground bore iron, and you've got way more than enough at that point to feed in the stone for the tar, for the coal gas and lubricant. And you'll be able to then ground bore whatever you want, anywhere, basically for free outside of your power generation. What I don't know is... Well, at one point, you can convert tar into crude. So, hey, at some point you'll be able to also convert that tar into fuel oil. So, what I don't know, my point was, what I don't know is if that ends up also being capable of producing the energy as well to fuel the system without any other input. Because if you could also then make the energy to fuel it, if that's a net positive for the energy, say out of, let's say we're burning aromatics in the end, um, if that's net positive and can fuel the system, that would mean that literally everything is broken. Like, that would mean the entire point of the mod is basically dead, because, or at least the point of the ores is dead. Like, that there are ores that exist would no longer matter. I mean, that would be great for Pi Block. That'd be that's great for Pi Block, where the whole point is to make stuff out of nothing, out of water. Nobody needs to know. Right. Right, but yeah, you know, that's just a thing, and here I'm sure a lot of people, myself included, sort of pass up the ground borers as not being worth it, when in fact, the moment you get access to sand extractors, it gets a little bit broken. Just a little bit. Now, the only reason why I even realized that this exists with ground borers is because you sort of need the ground borers to get your initial Nexalit at the moment. Yeah, well, that tends to happen when you add so many things. Sometimes there are just these types of loops that happen. Well, I know what I'm doing once I set up this nickel. Either way, no matter what, this is just to get to essentially infinite amounts of ores wherever you want ores. This does absolutely nothing in the entire processes of processing those ores. So that's the other thing that needs to be taken into account, is you still need to actually process the ores once you have them. Extract iron from the blood of living creatures. I can imagine that would not be very efficient, to be completely honest. That would not be very efficient, and in order to do so, you have to feed iron-containing food to those animals in the first place. Iron may be one of those things that's required for living things with blood to continue to survive, but we sort of get that iron from the diet in the first place, so ultimately something has to have the iron in it that's inorganic. Alright, so I've got the thingies here. I need to do another one for the G2 nickel. I can remember raw ores, of course. G2 nickel and... excuse me. Ah! Nickel rejects. Where are you? Echo stop. I swear, sometimes when I say nickel, my Alexa dot thinks I'm calling for it when I'm not. Should probably change the activation word to something else. Where are the rejects? Rejects? Rejects. There you are. Yes, alright, see you, Pyanodon. Alright, I need my grade 2 here. So, maybe... Ugh, I did this way too close. Slash, I didn't do this back far enough. There we go. And I will definitely have fun breaking the game. That will be glorious. That will be glorious, breaking the game. Breaking the game with sand extractors and ground borers. That will be lovely. Hmm. No, that gives you... What am I doing? 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 This gives you G1! I am not to move it that way. I am to move it... this way! Oh my god, this is so dumb. Spaghetti! Beautiful spaghetti. So much spaghetti. How in the F am I gonna bring in the other... I guess like this. Doink. 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 Da-da. Da-da-da. Ba-bum. Da-da-da. You will always give grade 1 without anything else. You give the sand, that's all going out. Okay, so now this can officially be run all there. Up we go. All the way. Boink, boink, boink. Whoops, wrong. Wrong thing. Oh yeah, I'm totally going to test my theories, I should say, on those potential loops of infinite or anywhere of whatever ore you so desire. That will be pretty awesome. I would not expect it to last too much longer if it is actually a thing. Like, if that's actually possible, I don't expect it to last too long. This does not have solid outputs. But it does have borax inputs. I should probably move these casting units so that I can do just the single line. Should probably also align it, but I'm not gonna align it. I don't need the I don't need the space. For the inserters. There we go. So this will be sand castings and borax, my mixed lane. The only thing I need here is the fuel. And that will be the fuel line, and it will be run down there. Huzzah! That, as they say, is that. I just need to run this belt over and up. Oh, that's a bit of a distance, actually, that I'd rather not walk in the sand. Where is my car? Way over there. Sure. I also need to run my belt to the ore in as well, so I guess I will run this too. But gosh, wouldn't that be a little nuts if that loop actually works how I think it works? If that's actually a positive feedback loop setup, that would be a little bit nuts. I wanna do it just to see if it can be done, if it's actually a net positive on energy. That's the big thing. I want to see if it's actually going to be net positive for energy. If not, that's no big deal. Ultimately, that doesn't really matter. This is just an interesting little fun thing to do. Not, I don't think it's particularly efficient to do in the end, most likely. But it's a thing that exists. But I'm pretty sure it'd just be way more efficient to not do it in the first place. Would save belt though, in the end, probably. Just being able to be like, hey, I want this resource to be here. So I'll make this resource here. And I will note that some resources through ground boring are locked behind future techs. So I don't think I'm actually, if I look at the available techs, Excavation 2 is what will give you the ability to actually do stone through the drilling machines, through the ground borers, although you can currently get stone through the sand extractor, and I think that is a lot better in the end. But You can't get niobium yet until blue science. You can't get limestone until blue science. Oh, thank God. Thank God that this exists. I am very much looking forward to this as a source of limestone to save on space, if anything else, and water, because limestone requires a bunch of soil extractors with a lot of water being pulled in to get sufficient amounts of that. Here's your free molybdenum. Now, note that these are 15 on the ores per second. There's your aluminium, so we can't even do the aluminium yet. We can't do the chromium yet. We can't do the lead yet, or the nickel, or the tin, or the titanium, or the zinc. So all of these items that you can ground bore, you can't get through ground boring until blue science. What we do have access to, however, is the nexlit, the borax, the quartz, the iron, and the copper. So all of the early game stuff. Oh, and look, the sand extractor comes out of excavation 1 as well. So I'm thinking that this whole setup and looping through here is probably intended, although I do know that Pyanodon has said or made clear that positive feedback loops are not intended, specifically in regards to the main ore chains at the very least, or processing chains. So pretty much I've just taken the whole nerfing of the current iron process that has just been pushed and said, you know what? It doesn't matter because we have infinite ore anywhere to feed in. So what? I need to make a bigger setup to process more ore. So what? I don't need to go out and mine more ore. I've got ground borers and I have an infinite supply of ore. Everywhere. Anywhere. Just convert infinite supplies of stone into tar and turn that into coal gas and into lubricant through aromatics, and you're good. Now, chromium cannot currently at Green Tech be pulled via ground borers. That is the limiting factor here. I still will need to get up to blue science. I have no idea how much fuel, by the way, I will need per second here. I'm just going to assume, and you know what happens when one assumes, that this will at least be enough to cover things. I could do the math. It's actually not all that difficult of math to determine how much coal per second I need to feed fully the boffs and the other stuff. I am going to need to do that, and that, and that, and that, and that. You don't need to exist. There we go. That, as they say, is that, how many is this? 21? 21 by 0.5 per second. It's 10.5 units per second times 4 megajoules per unit coal. 42 megawatts is what that will be worth. Or 42 megajoules per second. This will need 500 kilowatts. What's the efficiency? Doesn't have one, so it's just 500 megawatts of burn. 500 megawatts, so... or kilowatts, I should say. 500 kilowatts, that's 1.5 meg. And then these burn 240 at 75% efficiency. So you need 25% more fuel. So 240 by 8 by 1.25. 2.4 plus 1.5, that's 3.9 megawatts. So I think we're good. That is less than 1 unit of coal per second. Slightly. It's like 3.9 megawatts needed, and a unit of coal per second is 4. So I think we're good at pushing in over 10. I think we're good with that. Okay. I need to pull in the inputs now. So I need oxygen and the sand castings. And once I pull those in, that'll be all of the physical inputs available. It's all a matter of power at that point, and then I will have glorious, wonderful, beautiful things. By the way, what are you? Ooh, hello. 228.7 total yield. That is 100 megawatts of fuel oil. Ish. 99 point something or whatever, but close enough to 100 to say 100. That's just shy of 100 megawatts of power if I were to tap into all of them and convert to fuel oil. Minus the power it takes to do the actual mining itself, mind you, but anyway. Can't believe these loops exist, that you can just straight up convert into whatever ore you want anywhere, basically for free, because it feeds itself. It's like, oh hey, this actually, this feeds itself quite nicely. Looks like I need to go and grab a lot more belt. Off we go. Off we go to get more belt. I also have graphite here, so I could do whatever processes I want, pretty much, that need those to cast whatever machines. Now, since it looks like I primarily only really need the belts, I will go up here to grab belts from my rubber area. I will get out of the car to grab this. I will go to the car and I will dump a bunch and then grab some for myself. Because I seem to have been fairly decent at keeping my car with me so far. Anyway. But you know what? I think that the ground borers, that loop is the secret to scale. I think that might just be the way to scale in here, in this mod, without needing to do overly complex rail systems and so on. I think that that's a good way of avoiding lots of issues. Ugh, I dislike running belt through forest. At least the car's strong enough to mow down. Alright, that's those. Now I need the oxygen. I should... So, oxygen is going out way up here to get into the copper, but I don't think that the oxygen is anywhere else. No, it's not anywhere else, because I'm not even doing molten tin at the moment. I'm doing a more efficient tin, but this is not the molten tin. In fact, molten tin... I could do molten tin right now. It's tin dust, which... I think am I doing tin dust or am I doing G4? I'm doing G4. At this point it would be just add ball mills. Pull down that, line I've got going all the way up there with my sand castings. Could probably just make sand castings. What does one need for the sand castings again? I've got them going in machine here. This is just sand and creosote, right? Sand and creosote. Huh. And a tar processing unit. I can replace all of this with a sand extractor. Anyway, it looks like I need to actually run some fresh oxygen. Down from somewhere. Let me now figure out where this oxygen will live. You are coke, which doesn't need to exist. So that is fine. I can run my oxygen there instead. This can be oxygen. Oxygen! Ugh. Pulp, you are in the way. Pulp is in my way. Alright, oxygen. Oxygen, it's great stuff. But that dihydrogen monoxide, though, that stuff is fatal. Lots of people have died from dihydrogen monoxide poisoning. It's actually true. Lots of people have died from ingesting too much of the dihydrogen monoxide. That stuff is killer in high enough doses. And yes, I'm talking about water. You know, water, H2O, dihydrogen monoxide is how you can put the chemical name for water. And yes, there have been pranks about the dangers of dihydrogen monoxide, although everything that I had just said is true. What the? I'm stuck! I'm stuck on a rock! Oh noes. Yes, drinking too much water can be fatal. And it has been fatal. In fact, my local area once had a water competition, a water drinking competition, and yeah, someone did die. At least I think it was my local area, I don't know. There are, of course, the stories of when the Wii launched, how there were people that died from the from drinking too much water. I have no idea if that's actually a thing that happened, though. I know that there have been people who have died from drinking too much water too quickly. And I think the story goes that it was for a competition to win a Nintendo Wii. Pretty sure that that was the, how the story goes, anyway. Now, this is going to be 7.5 per second, aka a single lane in total. But that's, I think, going to be a little more than a single thingy out can handle. Cool, so that's that. I will need to connect some power up here. Gosh, it's only been an hour and 5 minutes. Oh boy. Oh boy, it's only been an hour and 5 minutes. What are we gonna do with the rest of this stream? Even though I said I wanted to test out the whole ground boring stuff for iron, I sort of want to devote a day to that, and I only want to do any of that probably after getting the stainless steel. Right, you sort of need to have lots of poles for that set up the way I have it. The way I have it needs lots of power poles. Oh, and if you are a bit concerned about how I'm getting power here in the first place, do remember that I already have power being sent to the nickel mining line so I can tap into that. I think that's all that's left. So where is my line of big electric poles? I'll just hitch on to this. Boom. Everything has power. So now we get to process the nickel. Nickel ore turning into again, the Alexa went off. Oh joy. Going into rejects and G2s, going back into G1s. Rejects being fed in here. Giving back the G1s. These will go and be fed back in into the G1s. From G2, the rejects. Where's the fuel? Where's my coal? I guess I'll manually give you some coal so you can start processing. And then we have the G4 coming in. Yay, G4. G4's coming in, but where is my coal? There it is. It's coming, slowly but surely. I stopped it. Prevented it from happening, from occurring. So things are gonna back up a tiny little bit. A tiny little bit until I get some, stuff. I could do this, though. Make it move. For now. It won't pull any coal, though, until it is out. And it's moving. It's moving. It's plates. It's nickel plates. Hello, my nickel plates. My beautiful nickel plates. They exist now. It's glorious. I can do things with my nickel plates. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I love it. I need to bus it. So, how am I gonna bus it? How am I going to bus this stuff? This beautiful stuff. Well, it's gonna need a place on the bus. From here. I guess I run it up all the way up here. So, pretty much... yeah, I can run it right next to this niobium. Way up there. So I'm going to go over and then up. Off we go! Hitting every rock along the way. Every single rock along the way. So it's a bit past the coal. That's where I have to go, or where I am able to comfortably go northwards. Let's go northwards now. Ah, rock! Oh joy, oh bliss, off we go. Rock, die. Thank you so much. Moving right along. Now I need to run this on the other side of the drill heads up here. Stupid rocks in my way. Ah, hello rocks. Boom, bang, pow. Lots of rocks. Ow. My beautiful nickel line. So, now that I have nickel, I need to do some things with this nickel. Because unfortunately, while I do need nickel as nickel, Alexa, stop. Or whatever, it's not, that's not the activation word. Again, nickel sounds too close to echo. Which of course it activates when I actually say its word as well. But nickel sounds a bit too close to its activation word. So I should probably change that at some point. Is niobium the first? No, it is the second. What is this line? What is this line next to the salt? Ah. Carbonate. Carbonate. Alright, let's count lines next to urea. Alright, so I've got rayon. And I've got filtration media. And that's it. Say hello to the next lane. Huzzah. We did it! We did it! Remember, goal for this week is stainless steel. Non-zero amounts of stainless steel. So, what is next? Now that I have a nickel, I need nichrome. Nichrome. That is the next major thing that I need. Fortunately enough, I have this beautiful nickel line right there. Now, nichrome is obviously going to be chrome plus nickel, or chromium plus nickel, it appears as if I am producing more ore than what I am capable of currently processing. And I do need more. Now, chromium. Ore. Oop, nope. Chromium plate. Excuse me. Chromium. Currently I'm doing this process. However, I could be doing chromite sand. That's limestone and carbon dioxide, though. That is the only next step. Wow. Okay. However, there are different ways to get into chromite sand. Okay. G1, G3, G4. I can go all the way up to G4. This would be hydrocyclone. It gives you rejects that give you more grade 3 in a ball mill. Grade 3 impact crusher from 1 and rejects gives you 2, which can give you 1 again. Oh gosh, so this is another yet more long chains. I'll sort of stick to this for now. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Oop, I need more. I need more undergrounds! Give me things. Undergrounds. No nos. Power. Just enough pulls. As that will probably process all of my ore that I'm mining. Where is my glorious car? I need to pick up more medium poles. If I can drive correctly, even semi-correctly would be a major improvement. Down, down, down we go. All the way to the head of the bus, where I'm making my wonderful, beautiful stuff and things. Ah, speed bonus. Briefly. Welcome, my beautiful poles. This is chromium, yes? Yes, I believe so. I'm making drill heads in 2 separate spots at the moment. I should probably just consolidate that. But, no matter. That extra light boost in the chromium output is much required. Oh yeah, so there is a recipe to convert stone into saline water. Since stone is basically free through through sand extractors. Just add a slight amount of iron. You basically don't need to make saline water through salt at all. Period. End of discussion. And with infinite amounts of saline water comes infinite amounts of saline water electrolysis into however much sodium hydroxide you could ever desire, plus chlorine. And hydrogen. So that's also a thing that exists. Still waiting on the, Oh, I didn't put a radar down. That's a little sad. Have the plates made it up to here? They have. And that looks a lot like a half belt to me. I don't know about you, but that looks a lot like a half belt to me. Of, plates coming in. Yeah, that, I can see that as 7.5. So do I want to do this processing here? That's the question. Nichrome exists through a high pressure furnace with nitrogen. Nitrogen, okay. High pressure furnace. I know I've got lots of these hanging around various locations, but anyway. Do I want to block this? I'm questioning whether or not I'm going to keep this here. Although, I do have some space right up here. I think I'll do this right up here. How much do you process per second? Ew. Well, consider I only need nichrome. What do I really need you for? Oh, I need you for TPA as well. Half per second. So 0.5 per second on a nichrome to feed a full TPA, but I don't know exactly how much TPA I would need as well. That would already be like all of my nickel. I think I'm going to live with the 2. I don't have enough nitrogen either at the moment to feed into this. I need to expand the nitrogen, but that's not too hard. That's easy enough, and that's a big pull on chromium. I'm going to be massively bottlenecked on my chromium. But what's nice is I'll only need to bring in one line. Ideally, I can share a belt. And of course, I happen to be in the major lag fest zone thanks to all of the particle effects. In fact, can I just straight up turn those off. Does that have any impact whatsoever? Well, I guess it's not the smoke. Maybe. But then why is this? This is just part of the animation, I guess. This smoke here on this machine. Could have sworn that it was the smoke effects that were causing UPS issues. Guess I was wrong. But there's something somewhere that's rather heavy on the performance. I've never truly understood why. Because my machine is far from being weak. For now, that'll be stored. Alright, chromium is... what line? Come on, I'm like right here. Where's the chromium? Right there, next to the stuffs. Which, there's the nickel. Alright, how am I going to do my alignment? So much lag. Anyway, this is the first lane. So I know I will have that. Actually, the ceramics is the first line. I think. Yes. Oh, nickel. You are the last item on your line. So this will give me nichrome. Nichrome is required for making light oil refineries. What do I need light oil refineries for? I need light oil refineries in order to make gasoline how I want to make gasoline. However, now that I have this nichrome all set, almost all set, I need to actually pull in the nitrogen as the last thing that I will do here before taking a break. And when I come back from the break, that will be when things will get interesting. And my nitrogen is like all the way over. It is, yeah, right on abutting the stuffs there, so it's like it's not directly next to the activated carbon, it is one away. So it is. So this is the activated carbon, this is one gap, and so that is where the nitrogen is existing. Alright, grab wherever my car went. Run this up, and then it's time for the break. Because that will mean that nichrome will start being produced, and I can start my work towards TPA, which is going to involve needing to next make some titanium tetrachloride. So that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be even more nitrogen. Oh boy. I think. No, that's gonna be chlorine. Huh. It's not listed. But it should be listed under here. Titanium tetrachloride. Coal dust. That's the thing. That's the thing that I need to start producing exclusively. You can make coal dust out of fiber. So you can make this out of raw fiber and out of coal directly. You could also do it out of tailings dust. You can split ash. Actually, a couple ways of getting tailings dust. You can get it out of crushing coal. In this coke recipe, yes, that's where you can primarily get it, but this would cost me ash, because I'm using it to, or it would cost me syngas, because I'm currently using coal dust from my coke production to make syngas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take probably the raw fiber and convert that into coal dust. Although that's a lot of HPFs. We shall see. Anyway, I'm gonna run this up first, and we'll do all of these discussions after the break. Of course, I run into the one rock. The one rock in the way. I'll also likely expand my nitrogen production capabilities and the other stuff to chlorine. I will need more chlorine. Oh, hello, you overwrote a rather important thing. There you go. Okay, so that is nichrome. Non-zero amounts of nichrome coming in. With that, I will be taking a break. stretch the legs, use the restroom, do all of the wonderful, important things required as part of life, and we'll be back very shortly to work on getting eventually into TPA, which requires liquid nitrogen, which requires gasoline, which I want to make through processing crude oil into stripped and low, medium, high distillates and all of that good stuff, which I can now do because I have nickel and I have nichrome to make the required buildings for it. So I will be back shortly. Alright, I have returned. The kitty decided to come back with me. So he's now here with me, and I am so very, very happy. Alright, let's continue. Continuing along. So, TPA. TPA will be required not only for the aramid, which is required for the stainless steel, it is also required for the Kevlar recipes. I will be doing this recipe for Kevlar. It will require PPD as well as organic solvent. I'm making some organic solvent. I can make more organic solvent once I get into stainless steel. So, that's a thing. A glorious, wonderful, beautiful thing. However, aramid, we have the molybdenum, we have aluminium. I am going to scale up the sodium hydroxide because I'm about to scale up the chlorine. I have titanium. I have sulfuric acid. I don't have the TPA. The TPA is made out of nichrome, which I now officially have. Aromatics, which I have way too much of. Well, I have plenty, I shall say. And then liquid nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen, for some reason, does require gasoline, and there's only one way to make it with the gasoline. So this is the only way to make this. It does, however, have a closed loop for water, so you really only need to worry about nitrogen and gasoline in a compressor, which is actually a very fast little machine. So the nitrogen, not too worried about. I can completely scale up the nitrogen to make whatever we need on the liquid nitrogen front. But the gasoline is where we run into some issues. Now, this recipe will require me to get light oil and olefins. I have the Nexlet plates already. The olefins, though, I could do it out of that. I could do it out of that. I was planning on doing it out of that, actually. But this is actually a relatively slow process. It gives you bitumen, which you can make shale oil out of, yes, with tin chromium alloy. You can actually convert tar into shale oil with titanium tetrachloride. That's interesting. But there's a lot of things that need titanium tetrachloride. I was going to do this recipe for the gasoline. Stripped distillates. Stripped distillates are made out of medium distillates, which come out of a residual oil from crude recipe, or tar. I will be doing this from crude. So, residual oil, low, medium, and high distillates. The residual oil itself converts into residual mixture, which can be used in the process of converting coke into more coke. Basically, you double your input of coke on this recipe through the consumption of the hot residual mixture. Now, the low distillates can also be converted into coal gas, kerosene with titanium tetrachloride, which is tempting. It can also be converted into heavy oil with gasoline by adding gasoline. And you'll get even more residual oil out of that process. You could also go straight into lubricant with titanium tetrachloride, or xylenol, or even BTX with tin chromium alloy. Now, BTX gives you paths into aromatics and benzene and even styrene, which styrene would be used in plastic? No, it gets used in rubber. Styrene in rubber. Yes, okay. And then, I mean, I've already got lots of aromatics, so there are a lot of things that you can do with these various distillates, is the point. The medium distillates, as I said, these can only be turned into stripped distillates, and stripped distillates can be used for fuel oil eventually, sure, into light oil, but we're going to do gasoline. I am making tin chromium alloy, in case you are wondering, and eventually even you can make olefins directly out of stripped distillates too. Now, the high distillates, these convert into condensed with gasoline, and then the condensed distillates can be made into aromatics with titanium tetrachloride, so you can sort of feed your aromatics needed to make the titanium tetrachloride again. Or you can get hydrogen, but more importantly, you can also get refined syngas out of this. Cough, cough, wheeze, wheeze. I would probably use it for the syngas, though. So yeah, lots of things. Using the low for coal gas was what I wanted. Using the medium for gasoline. And then using the high for refined. But the catch is you sort of have to do all of that, or else you're wasting your oil. Which, I mean, it is super tempting just to do a different process altogether. I mean, this titanium tetrachloride plus heavy oil, I think might end up actually being what I end up doing. Either way, I'm going to be making titanium tetrachloride, and if I'm going to be making titanium tetrachloride, I'm already making heavy oil. I can scale up my heavy oil through steam cracking, crude, and this is a closed loop water system, so you just need to make FTF reactors for that. So I think I'm going to end up doing that. I need to pick up some concrete. And I should have enough machines hanging around to vastly scale up my heavy oil production, so I'm not too worried about that. So, change of plans. I'm not going to do the stripped setup at the moment. But either way, I still have to make the titanium tetrachloride, which is actually going to give me a demand on my titanium for once. Which also means I should probably be thinking about setting up something proper for titanium. Because that and chromium are the two things that I don't have proper setups for. Now my concrete is being made all the way over here. Yeah, so that's my titanium. That is the extent of my titanium right there. Low concrete. Give me FTS reactors. Probably want another stack of that. I want to get a look at the demands. Because I want to see just how much of the titanium tetrachloride this is going to pull, so that I have a better idea of how much I need to make. My titanium line, by the way, is my 4th line, is the one right next to my steel. So I've had this... You have it set up for a long time because it's needed to make burners. So it's like, oh hey, I have had titanium for a long time just because it's needed to make the burners, but you don't really use it for too much else for a very long time. Alright, so these FTS reactors, I've made them before. In this case, I am making gasoline out of heavy oil and hot air. So one of these would make a lot of gasoline. Comparatively speaking, and that is not a lot of inputs either. It's actually not too bad. And 0.19 on the titanium tetrachloride. I believe the titanium tetrachloride is made in HPF. Right there. 0.13 for a single HPF. So... not too bad. Quarter of 1 per second. Fueling a single one of these, making 56.25. What about the liquid nitrogen? I shouldn't be looking in there, I should be looking in here. Liquid nitrogen in a compressor. Compressor, compress! I need engine units. That's another thing that I should probably just stick on the bus so that it's closer at hand. Because as of yet, I have not had anything that is involved in a demand that is, like, science-related that requires engine units. I expect that to change. I expect that to change. Normally, blue science will need engine units for something in it, but I don't think that's quite the case for this mod. Later things, I'm sure. We'll need engine units for something at some point. Compressor, wherefore art thou? Ah, fusion. Compressor, compress! Another big building. Hello, compressor. Pressured hydrogen. That's going to be needed for something later. Something important, I'm sure. Alright, you will need 16.67 to make Ah, it's a 1-to-1. Wow, that's a lot of nitrogen. That is twice what I'm making now for a single compressor. And then TPA is made in a rectisol. Rectisol. Something involving making pumps for this. So the rectisol. Ah. Other ways of getting to refined syngas through methanol. Huh. Alright. TPA will require... That gives you 12.5. Now, I need the TPA for aramid made in a nanomaterial factory. I have one of those somewhere. Don't remember where, but somewhere. Here, let me just make another. Wherever they are, there. Wow, you make it out of a botanical nursery. Okay. So this thing, making aramid. What is your pull on TPA? Exactly 1. Oh, right, but I'm still going to be limited to half a second on the molybdenum anyway, so this is going to end up being more than enough. It's also a lot of nichrome. So as long as I am producing... ...5 units per second on the gasoline, or no, on the TPA, 5 units per second on TPA, 5 units per second on liquid nitrogen. This is, by the way, 40%, so 50, a 0.5 out of a 1.25. I'm pretty sure that is a 0.4. 40% of 1.25. So 40% of 12.5 is what will end up being consumed on the TPA. So then I need 40% of 0.5, which is 0.2. 40% of 12.5, which is 5 per second, in which case 5 per second of liquid nitrogen, that's a 10-to-1. So that would be 50 on nitrogen in. And since that's a 1-to-1, if I only need 5 per second liquid nitrogen, I only need 5 per second of gasoline in, which you're going to need a lot. You're going to just end up with a lot more gasoline than you will really need for this. So that will be just fine, I think. Now, 40% of 2 is 0.8. Now, I'm pretty sure that I don't even need remotely close to that to feed the stainless steel casting. So that is all I really need. There is one other thing that I need to make sure that I do. Actually, a couple of things that I need to make sure that I do as the cat's head gets really close to my arm and its whiskers start to annoy me greatly. Where did I put the other multi-purpose crackers? I should have a chest that's nearby. Ish. With boilers and multi-purpose crackers. It is not this chest. I simply do not remember where I put those chests. Or that singular chest. It exists somewhere. Where? I do not know. It is gone into the ether. Well, when in doubt, make more. So, I need some, multi-purpose crackers going on. And what I want to do is hook up my crude. I also need some boilers. So I have crude oil here. I think I have it. Do I have it pulled out? I do have crude oil because I'm getting... Ah, yes, so you are fully hooked up already to the main bus. Yes, yes, that's glorious. Okay, I don't need to worry about that. Car, come thither. And we shall do great things. So, doubling this. I currently have 3, making 100 per second. I will have 6, making 200. What was that poll on that FTS? Not making that, making that. 37.5. Yeah, that's fine. La di da. So that'll need 400 per second. These make 60 each. So I think that is a 1-to-1 already, maybe. So I need to add 4 more. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. Either way, I'm making 4 more. Regardless. More! Ooh, I need more pipe. Need more pipe. Do I have any niobium plate on me? Of course not. Of course you don't. Of course not. I do, however, have some of these iron undergrounds to make things lovely. Alright, so that's now improved my heavy oil situation. The next thing is that beautiful titanium tetrachloride, which I do believe requires nitrogen in, so that is the very next thing. For this, you need destructive distillation columns and filters. Because I'm going to scale this up just a little bit. This will end up costing some activated carbon. I'm going to back up just a little bit because I need more of those. And I could use some more of those. Thank you kindly for those inserters. Off we go. So, nitrogen is being made here. Currently, I have 4 destructive distillation columns and 3 filters. In combined total, let's see, these 3 filters can do up to 56.25. So I can add one more well, I can add, where are we going to even out? I can add, if I add 1 here, I can add 2 more here. So plus 1 filter for plus 2 DDCs. And I will need to get more underground pipes. Oh, and I need a, is that a 1-to-1? Yes, it is. So I need more pumps. More beautiful, glorious pumps as well. Okay, going to some, at least to my source of niobium. I forget what line I've drawn my niobium. It's here somewhere, I know it is. Where Where's my niobium? There it is. Give me pipe to ground. I know I've got a big stockpile of a couple hundred units, but meh. I need sufficient amounts for the moment, and that's all I need. Back we go. Okay, that goes there. Oxygen goes there. Pressure goes there. Ugh. Off they go. So at the moment I am a bit backed up on the nitrogen, but that is not going to last forever. So let's see, 6 of these. So I have 60 per second on nitrogen here. Then I have 72 being converted into even more. That is 2 to 1. So 72 by 2 is 144 plus 60. So 204 at the moment. I am consuming, if everything is working fully, which it's not. Oh, right, I need that and that. There we go. Now everything should be working properly. Sorry, point is I will need to continue to expand this. There, I will need even more. So, if I add a 7th and an 8th, that'll put me at 96. Alright. Alright, so if I go to 9 to 6, that'll do 108, 112.5, 120, 130, 150. You don't happen to go into any of this evenly ever, do you? Gee, I wonder what the actual ratio is. Gee, do you ever hit 225? Of course you don't. You hit 240. Do you hit 240? No. No, of course you don't. 300. Hey! That works. That means that's a 25 to 16. 25 is only divisible by itself and 5. And 16 is not divisible by 5. So yeah, that's the ratio. That's the actual ratio here, and in the end that would produce 600, 850 per second. Oh, and of course you've got all of the oxygen you could ever desire out of all of this. Am I really gonna go that far though? Probably not. However, I do have another DDC. Let's add 4 more DDCs. That would give me 10. Making 120. I would need an additional 3 filters. I'm going to need quite a bit more pipe if I want to do that, though. Maybe I'll make it as I need it. I'll place the buildings down, but I won't connect everything up. That's too much space, actually. Now I'm thinking about it, this isn't spaced correctly. I need a gap of 2, not a gap of 3. Thought this was a gap of 2. As it turns out, that's wrong. But I'll get them prepared for the eventuality of things. Because at some point I'll need all of that extra nitrogen. Where is my car? There it is. How could I miss it? It has a green bar on it. Big green bar. Okay. Titanium tetrachloride. All of that for titanium tetrachloride. I need to run this line. That's wrong. Stop. Oh gosh. That's bad. That's bad. That's not good. Okay, so in this circumstance... yeah, go around. Sure, why not? Also, 200% speed boost on these tiles. 210% speed boost on these tiles. So I'll gladly walk this. Although... and we're empty. My rubber should be right down here so I can... oh no, my car. My car has tons. What am I thinking? My car has tons of stuff and things. Make those. Wherefore art thou? Car? Car? Way back there. Okay. Hello, car? That's not the right car. This is the car. Mine! My glorious things! I don't know how far back I have to go. Probably all the way. There we are. Welcome again, titanium. So, where in the F and F am I going to do titanium tetrachloride? It's done in high pressure furnaces, which are small. That's simply not enough. Simply not enough space. Same here. Oh yeah, by the way, tin chromium alloy. Wonderful stuffs. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna have to go all the way to the end. Grab my car and off we'll go. I thought I was going to have to move, so I let go of the button. Now I have to move. Oh boy. Let's A, do repairs. And B, actually do this right. Get those pipes out of the way. Right, while I'm here, where are my thingies? And you. So I'm having a bit of an issue with too many tailings existing at the moment, so I need to make them not exist anymore. Goodbye, excess tailings. Because these hydrocyclones were getting backed up because of the tailings. It was an issue. Now it is no longer an issue, and now we have beautiful molybdenum plates returning yet again. Okay. You and you. Making glorious titanium tetrachloride. Now, coal dust. That is the question. Coal dust. You can make it out of raw fiber, you can make it out of coal. You can make it out of ash. You can make it out of raw coal. And you can make it out of tailings dust. I think this raw fiber might be the main method, but ball milling coal could also be a solution. Where is... I do have a coal right there. I mean, I guess that's an option. In the alternative, I could forego the syngas over here and route the coal dust over. I might just do that. I am producing a lot of syngas at the moment, and chances are it might just be gas vented in the end anyway, so I'm going to take what I am currently producing over here because I have just so happened to have chosen to do my titanium tetrachloride all the way at the end of the bus in relatively close proximity to where I am actually making my coke. Oh, so much slowdown from the colored patches. Now, the way I've set this up sort of means that I have to, branch off. I want to output priority this. Because ultimately, I still want to send my excess into that syngas. Because something tells me that at one point I will back up on the titanium tetrachloride, which means that the coal dust will eventually back up. Now, I do want to get some degree of alignment here. Now, this will need titanium in and coal dust in, and the way that I've set this up, I could jump over the thingy. So I guess I'll align to here, which means going up. That's a good enough indication. Pretty sure that's the alignment. If I scroll all the way over, just holding down A. Yep, that's the alignment I want. Just gotta clear all these rocks in my way. somehow make it through all of this. Anytime there's green or this red that you see on the ground, it basically counts as the shallow water and gives you a requisite speed reduction in it. I'm pretty sure it's an equivalent speed reduction between this colored terrain in volcanic and the shallow water in the swamplands. So thank you so much for that, Alien Biomes. Yes, I know it can be changed in the settings, on the startup settings, but really don't want to mess with those. It requires restarting the game every time they are changed. Alright, now that I'm out of that volcanic zone, this becomes so much easier. Easier, not easy, but still. I guess my titanium will come in right here. That actually gave enough time for my titanium to get here, which is a plus. Right. Then chlorine. Which line is chlorine? That's hydrogen chloride. Chlorine is directly next to the hydrogen chloride. It is not being run currently all the way up here, but it is directly next to the hydrogen chloride. So that is a bit further out. Grab my car. Actually, put down the outputs here. Yeah, don't need to worry about lanes and balancing any of that. Does need power though. Enjoy. Now to run this the entire length of the bus. That's how far we've got to go. Well, until the turn in the bus at the far south. Slowly but surely filling in the bus as I need things. Thus the whole point of the main bus. Never, ever, 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 ever run anything past the furthest point it's currently required. Never, ever run anything past the point that it's currently required for. Otherwise, you are wasting resources for all extensions that go beyond the current requirements. It may look nice, but if you're ultimately just ending something willy-nilly somewhere further down the line so that it looks nice, that's all you're getting is something that looks nice at the cost of all of those resources. Granted, I say that, and there are some things that I have that are extended a bit further than they need to be extended, but, yeah, not like a situation where I have every single one of my lines going all the way up here, for instance. Like, if I was doing things to make it look nice, every single one of my belts would be extended all the way up to here with all of the pipes going all the way up there, and that is just not a thing. Now, I ran this up further, and I ran the steel up further just to have that buffer so I don't have to go all the way back for it whenever I need to pick up more. So some things, sure, extend it for a purpose. The purpose there being I need to pick it up so I can do more handcrafting. But otherwise... Ah! The dust has arrived. I don't know if I'm making 2.5 per second on dust. We shall see. And there is the first of the titanium tetrachloride. Tetrachloride, alright. Cool. It's happening. Things are happening! Next is gasoline in an FTS reactor. Right? I think. Requires titanium tetrachloride, a closed-loop system of processing water into steam. Looks like I need 2 cooling towers. In order to feed this, or keep this loop closed once it's been fed. So, a couple of cooling towers. Feeding the water back in after I feed in the initial amounts of water. I'm gonna need that, and I'm gonna need that. And I can just do this to feed in the titanium tetrachloride. And then that will output gasoline. So at this point, I will definitely want to go back and go to my niobium and pick up more niobium pipe undergrounds, because I'm going to have to run the hot air and the heavy oil's not a big draw of pipes, but the heavy oil absolutely is. Probably want to hang on to a little bit of that. Ah, all of the balloons. All my wonderful balloons. Making tholins for acetylene. Wonderful, beautiful acetylene. Via tholins, because it's actually better to do it that way. Who'da thunk it, kitty? Who'da thunk it? That it'd be better to do acetylene via tholins. Joule for joule, it's a more efficient process. Oops. Maybe I shouldn't limit this anymore. Or limit it so that I have a bigger buffer. Because I sort of need a lot of pipe. I sort of need a lot of pipe. Lot of pipe, lot of pipe. Shouldn't be limiting thingies. Oh hey, it's Nickel. Hello, Nickel. So lovely. Now, if I'm not mistaken, am I tapping every type of ore? That's outside of the rare earth bolides, the kimberlite, and like the other like node type items. Outside of the node type items, I think I am currently mining and processing every single ore patch type, which is definitely something. I still need to do of like real titanium mining and processing, and I still need to do real chromium, a real chromium setup, slash a more efficient chromium and titanium setup. But the titanium is going to require a lot more acetylene. And I sort of just pulled back on the syngas to make titanium tetrachloride through coal dust, so there goes that. It's like, well, there goes that. And eventually this patch will no longer exist on the coal, so I would have to relocate my coal mining anyway, and processing. There's a 5.2 up there. I'd probably be more interested in bringing in via train coal and not moving this, but we shall see. I have raw coal up there. I could do some raw coal processing. But anyway, all of that is for the future. So I'm going to head back to the bus. I'm going to get to my hot air, and I'm going to run that up first. I do have the hot air run a little bit up for, well, chromium, I know, but I think also for some other stuff and things. So, hot air, there is the line. I apparently have it on niobium pipe going up already, which is good. Why did I run this up with niobium pipe already? Where did I need hot air after niobium? I don't know. Oh, I need it on Nexlet. Right. So my hot air goes up to my Nexlet. Does that mean my hot air is actually further? No, there's heavy oil. Anyway, I'm going to continue to run. Back up. Back up. Run this all the way up. There we go. That's everything with power. Glorious hot air. I have lots of it being produced, so this is going to be just fine. I need to do an initial input of water. Then I need the glorious heavy oil. Now, what is the line that I am drawing for the heavy oil? Heavy oil is here. What is it in relation to other things? It is directly next to the chlorine. Directly next to the chlorine. Grab my car. And down we go. That's all of that. So now I should be making gasoline. So say hello to non-zero amounts of gasoline. The water is fine, I can break that, and everything should be good. So, glorious gasoline. Glorious, beautiful gasoline. Next. TPA. Requires liquid nitrogen. So liquid nitrogen needs the gasoline. That is next. Liquid nitrogen. What did I determine the liquid nitrogen is made in? It's made in the compressor. I remembered. It is made in a compressor. The compressor compresses. Looks like I need even more steam processing. Now, I'm going to do this in a way that I can actually use this line. So I have currently 2 cooling towers. They can process up to 400 units. I need to add 2 more, at least. Oh, I may as well do this way, because it's simple enough to hook up the water. Keep everything together. Gasoline will be tricksy. I think I need to move this 1 unit back, at least. I'm going to pull gasoline in directly. Fill that. send the steam over. That should be the steam connected. Add power. Add nitrogen. Nitrogen should be somewhat close by. It is. So I can pull this line out. There we go. That will be liquid nitrogen. Say hello to liquid nitrogen. Glorious, beautiful liquid nitrogen. Now, TPA. I will need to route my nichrome for TPA. But at least I'm producing nichrome. TPA is made in the rectisol. I think I determined I wanted, or it would just be the one rectisol. That is a lot of nichrome per second, but remember I only need 0.2, not 0.5 in the end. Yeah, sure, straight up. This needs aromatics, so I need to bring my aromatics up. And it needs nichrome in. So the nichrome in, I'll put it there, sure. Now TPA is a fluid as well. Yet another fluid. What line is my aromatics? Aromatics, right there. This is... the one gap to the right from hot air. One gap to the right from hot air. So, here. Get in the car. Find a actual belt line. Closest belt line is this. And start rolling. The reason why I'm looking for the belt line is to try to avoid exactly what just happened. I will need to grab some more belt when I get to having to move the nichrome. Alright, there's the aromatics. Now, my nichrome is... where again? Where did I ultimately decide on nichrome? Right here. So this needs to be bussed. And this is right near where I've got my rubber-based belts being produced. Let's see if I can get some non-zero amounts of this beautiful and glorious TPA within the next 4 minutes, because that would be absolutely glorious to be like, hey, we did nickel plates and got done with TPA, so that next time I can just straight up start making aramid, because aramid is... I have the molybdenum, I have the aluminium, I have the sodium hydroxide, I have the titanium plates, I have the sulfuric acid, and I'm about to start making the TPA. So that'll be aramid, which means that'll be stainless steel. The molten stainless steel, I can make this right now. I just need to start processing some ferrochromium alloy from chromium and iron and graphite, but that's really simple. I can just start making that at any point. That's the only thing holding me back from the molten stainless steel at this point. I've got plenty of phosphate rocks near where my iron is, so that's fine. I have to route niobium plates, that's about it. So that's just logistics at this point. So TPA is the main bottleneck, which means we're doing molten stainless steel tomorrow. We're doing that molten stainless steel tomorrow. Now that I've picked up the belts, all I need to do is get a spot on my bus for this glorious nichrome. Probably make some more of those. Alright. Kill the rocks. Kill those rocks. All those rocks. So this is the 4th line. So we are now officially making a brand new line. Route this all the way up. All the way up. And that will be TPA. Can't believe it. So TPA, outside of also being needed for aramid, is also needed for Kevlar, which is another very important item that will be required during the Circuit 2 chains. So it is used as an intermediate in a couple of the things for Circuit 2s. It'll be needed for optical fibers, at the very least. That much I do know. Up we go. Oh. Yet another rock. So just gonna finish running this belt, and that'll be it for the day. As much as I would like to keep going, I do need to do work this afternoon. Have to earn money to eat and to pay bills. Speaking of which, how am I actually running this belt? Quite further up. I should do this properly. But gosh, that's a lot of undergrounds if I do it properly. Screw it, I'm not going to do it properly. I'm gonna just run belt. We did it! That's nichrome. And that is TPA. Now, I don't think that I'm going to simply wait around. Oddly enough, this is beyond my radar range on that belt. That is sad, to say the least. But my nichrome production is very low right now because I need more chromium. Straight up, that's the big limiting factor at the moment, is my chromium production, so I need to make a more efficient chromium setup soon. But I also want to see non-zero amounts of stainless steel by Friday, end of day Friday. But yeah, so what got done today? Well, I shall tell you. Today, I processed nickel. My nickel processing setup is all down here. Yesterday, I got the mining set up, so the mining was fine. But today, I actually did the setup. Jaw crushers, secondary crushers, impact crushers, ball mills, and all the glorious things. I brought in this line of borax and sand castings that I had that go down to the lead and silver production. Brought that over to do the nickel. My nickel goes all the way up and over. Glorious little plates. It is also being processed into nichrome, which is being limited by my chromium production. I expanded my chromium production a little bit, and I have now made titanium tetrachloride into gasoline. I suppose I can officially close this loop again. Yes, I believe this should be fine. So this is all one big closed loop of water and steam, making beautiful liquid nitrogen that is going to be used, along with aromatics and nichrome, to make wonderful TPA that will be used for aramid and for Kevlar a little bit later on the path to Circuit 2s. With that, I would like to thank you all for watching. This has been Otaku Showboat, and I will be back tomorrow, where we are pretty much likely to start seeing some non-zero amounts of stainless steel. And once I hit stainless steel, as much as I want to continue moving on into the rest of the Circuit 2 chain, stainless steel opens up the ability to make real oil refineries. And there's some things that I could do with the actual vanilla oil refineries that I need to look at to see if I really want to actually do them. And then there are certain processes that I want to do that are more efficient through using that machine. I think the organic solvent as a process that I want to do using the vanilla oil refinery that I can only do with the vanilla oil refinery, so I will be looking at that. But really, before I do anything major moving forward, once I get the stainless steel, I need to expand chromium. I need to get the real titanium, efficient titanium processing going as well, which means as well a lot more acetylene, and I want to do syngas through other means as well. So I want to, at some point, get that distillates stuff going through breaking down of crude oil to start making things in alternative ways, but we shall see. And then there's the whole process of, hey, there's sort of a bit of a positive feedback loop that exists with ground borers and sand extractors using the sand extractors to make stone, to make tar, and using the tar to make the coal gas and the lubricant out of aromatics via creosote, via tar. And you can use that iron to make more drill heads at the moment. If I had blue science, I'd also be able to get the chromium to make the drill heads. So that would be the full process feeding itself back in a positive feedback loop on being able to actually feed ground borers. So yeah, that's something that I want to try at some point, but that will be moving forward. Probably after even Circuit 2s, and who knows if that will still be viable at that point now that Pyanodon knows about it. So, again, thank you all for watching. I will be back tomorrow. See you all then.